What's up, everybody? And welcome back to Tino's Tom. And guys, we're on the road to WrestleMania week. We're on day 2. We'll be live here for NXT tonight. But we're getting ready for the baseball season. It all begins Thursday night with the world champions, those Houston Astros, trash can banging Houston Astros, going up against my Chicago White Sox. First game without first baseman Jose Abreu. New coach, a new structured team. They're going in with new vibes, guys. And all other the MLB teams are getting ready. Clean slate, a new season, a new summer, 162 games, plus more if you make it to the postseason. Who is winning? Who's taking home the World Series trophy this year? So, guys, welcome to Tino's Tom, the SouthSide Boys, episode number 2, as we get you ready for opening weekend of the MLB season. And as you guys know, this MLB season, your boy Tino isn't alone this year. We do got 3 people here on the show, the Southside Boys. 2 of them were not here able to join us today. Hopefully they'll be back next week as we get ready, and we'll be on our regularly scheduled time on Thursdays for the Southside Boys. But today, guys, it's just going to be me and my man Deech. So, guys, let's welcome Southside Deech back to Tino's Time as he gets, and he's ready. He's already in his gear, guys. Are you going to the game tonight? Are you going to start tailgating?
Yeah, I got my tent set up in Lot B.
Hey, there you go. That works. So, man, how are you feeling? Before we start with anything, what is your excitement level? What do you have any week traditions, opening weekend traditions? Do you I have a few friends that watch baseball movies. Anything that you do before the game, anything that get you ready for the MLB season?
Watching highlight videos has been on YouTube.
The hype videos?
I actually hype videos, and then I actually watched that playoff game 3 the other night. Beat Houston just to
get the one game we won against Houston.
Yeah, say goodbye to the legend.
Oh my God, man. I mean, we'll talk about that, man. But it's crazy to think about how since that game to now, how much even the team has changed since. So, man, I'm ready. So I don't think we waste any time here today, and let's get into everything that we're going to talk about. And let's get into that about who did and everybody that has made the team. I don't know if the full opening day rosters have come out for all baseball teams, but we have seen Oscar Colas has been told that he made the team. We've heard other guys and stuff like that. Have you heard anything about official full bench, or is it just more?
So the Sox haven't officially come out and said anything. That's all been by the beat writers and reporters that have been at camp. So one of them did confirm that Lurie's locker appeared to be cleared out. So that one seems as though it is for sure. They said Alberto is likely to make the team. Colas is likely to make the team. So I believe tomorrow, as the Sun Times came out with an article today that said it should be the full roster should be announced tomorrow.
Okay, well then we'll definitely have to keep them updated. And guys, I will keep you updated on that because it should be interesting to see who the full roster is and stuff like that. And besides Colas and everything, because you've watched more spring training games than I have, and you've been keeping it up a little bit more. Thank God. We got to give Deech some credit, guys. He's helping your boy Tino out with this baseball stuff with all the wrestling. So who is one guy during spring training that has been very impressive that you're like, damn, he could be on that roster tomorrow?
I think there's really 2 to highlight. I mean, you kind of knew who the regular starting 9 would be. So there's really no need to bring any of them up. You're just hoping a lot of these core guys do bounce back. But Hanser Alberto had a ridiculous spring and apparently is regarded as one of the best veteran presence to have in the clubhouse. So he beat Lurie out as far as we know right now. So that I think is one guy to highlight. And then Rami Gonzalez homered again today.
Did he homer? I saw that somebody said that Romy's on fire. Somebody was like, Romy coming for Elvis's job. The guy running. I was like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Romy was that guy too when we saw last year. He gave he was very impressive when was given the opportunity, especially when Anderson was out. Laurie was striking out everything. We didn't have Andrews yet and stuff like that because if people forget, we did have Danny Mendick. Danny Mendick was playing a great shortstop before he flipping. What did he do? Tear his ACL or something? Running down the third baseline with Heasley or Henley or
Yeah, they collided.
yeah.
Pop up.
It's one of those things, man. Romy, yes, he might be like he might not make the team. Do you think he makes the team?
Based off of how they've been positioning guys in these spring training outings, it looks like Colas is actually getting a legitimate look in center field to back up in case Robert needs a day off or so on and so forth. So I honestly think Romy Gonzalez is probably going to be, even though everyone's saying Alberto is replacing Lurie was technically a super utility guy who did play the corner outfield spots. And I think he even played some center field. So I think Romy's going to step up to that super utility role. And Alberto again is going to he'll be a utility guy. He just doesn't have the outfield experience. So
yeah, but I mean, honestly, I just hope the White Sox can have 3 normal outfielders and not have at least we're not having a first baseman play an outfield position, besides Sheets. But I mean, I guess I'd rather have Sheets than Vaughn because that it should be really interesting. And that was the one thing you mentioned. You said the word leader, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. And we were talking about it kind of like during, like before we started recording, like a little bit about Abreu. And that was the one interesting thing that when I was listening to the podcast with Chuck and Rick, and I was even listening to one with Ozzy and Chuck today that came out this morning, and it was like, the biggest thing that I feel like, and we'll get into it a little bit more, but I wanted to mention it, is just the way that like the last game went and everything last year, and Abreu not playing and everything like that, where it was just like, I feel like we're going to see a big difference with this team where like, it's not going to be all about me. I feel like last year at one point, it just was all about like whoever can do it to be that guy, where it was just like, even like when Anderson made the All-Star team, there wasn't excitement. There wasn't anything like that. So it should be very interesting to see like a guy like Alberto coming in to be, here, especially if he produces. That's huge for a team like this. So how do you feel about that? And like I said, we'll talk more about Abreu, but I just want to talk about the guys making the team right now.
Pedro is going to take full reign and leading the team as a whole, but he is going to obviously want some veteran presence in there that will sit and keep everyone's heads kind of all moving at the same pace. We need to set and accomplish our goals here. So I think adding Alberto, I really don't think Lurie was much of a leader. So to take him off of the team and essentially have Alberto make the team, I think that was a very good move by both the front office and coaching staff to come to that agreement that needed to be done.
Yeah, and the biggest thing about that is it shows that they're willing to change, and it's not about the money. Because yes, Lurie he gave him too much money. You even mentioned it. It was the owner and like Tony. It was in reality, like it wasn't even Rick. Let's be real here, guys. Like, come on. Like, I feel like it was not Rick that gave him that contract. Like Rick would, like I said, I feel like we could use that money on somebody else. So, it's one of those things. What about the who do you think will be? Because obviously we saw like Billy Hamilton got sent down, and I'm happy that Billy's staying on the team because I feel like Billy will be useful, and I feel like Romy's another one like that. Like we were talking about him, he's gonna be good, and him going down in AAA is gonna be good because he's gonna be playing every day. Because then at least it's good to. I always say it's better to have more than less. At least we have backup to backup because you never know on 162 games, especially here with Chicago. So
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, that's the thing. You need depth pieces both at the minor league level as well as the bench. So I honestly, if you're asking me who I think makes the roster on the bench spots, it's probably you're looking at Alberto. Rami, I think, is going to make it because you can use him in a corner outfield spot if you needed to. And then Sebi Savala, obviously, great spring, has been hitting the ball well. His defense looks like he's improved there. And then then you're looking at either Sheets or Berger. I honestly think that's kind of the last decision they're waiting on is which one will be on the roster opening day.
So that was going to be my next question is we're talking about people who do make the team, and you said that you think Romy doesn't, or you think Romy does. So
Yes.
who is the guy that has been struggling in spring training? The opposite of the question I just asked you, who's been doing great, like Romy's been doing great. Who's been struggling besides useless Garcia that's thankfully gone, that you see not making the team and going down to AAA, maybe being released or something like that? Has there been somebody that's just been god awful in spring?
No, because I think Victor Reyes went down and is a minor league camp, and then didn't Marisnik get sent down
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, he got sent down with Billy.
So the fact that none of them have been released, that kind of just shows they're willing to sit and fight for a spot if an injury or something happens where they do need to bring them up.
And Marisnik isn't a bad because what would that be? What, fifth and sixth outfielder? Marisnik and Billy would be, or would they be
Yeah,
5,
they'd
6?
most. I think they'll start in AAA. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, no, I because they already got sent down. I'm just
yeah,
saying, like in our depth chart, because because we
yeah.
got
I
like our
mean,
3
I would consider
starters,
them, and then Hazley. Hazley
right?
had a
Oh,
decent.
so that's right. I keep forgetting we got Hazley. That's right. I just said about Danny Mendez. He's still on the team, guys.
So I think, yeah. Other than that, there's not really anyone that's had a terrible spring. I feel once they had added Elvis Andrews, that really kind of solidified that unless Colas was god awful in spring training, you kind of had your starting 9, and then it was just the bench that you were looking to focus on as to who was going to fight for those spots. So,
And that's not a bad problem to have. That means it's good to go in there with a plan instead of going in there like, I don't know who's going to be the starter on day 1. So, man, I'm very interested to see that and what happens. And now that I know it's happening tomorrow, it kind of gets me a little bit excited. So I'm very excited to see. But we are here. We are at opening weekend. We got a lot of games. We're obviously starting with the White Sox and the Astros, 7 p.m. Right? Is it 7 p.m.? I'm looking right now. I didn't know if it was 7 p.m. Right? Yeah. Oh, 6:08 p.m. here in Chicago. So 7 p.m. Some places 8 p.m. 6 p.m. 6:08. We'll all be here watching it on Thursday night. We'll be here live, guys, also watching WrestleMania 33, the finale episode of season 1 of the Retro Series. Sorry, DJ, I got to let everybody what else is going on. But, guys, we'll be here watching the Sox and Astros too, 6:08. And we also have a lot of other games. So I'm going to mention some just other like matchups because we want to let the people know besides the White Sox and Astros, what other games are going on. So what are some games, what are some matchups this week that you're looking forward to? Because I'm sure you don't just watch the White Sox. I'm sure if there's baseball on, you're watching it. There's a good game on.
I kind of just bounce around I mean, whatever's kind of on. I have like a MLB TV subscription, so I can
Oh,
really
okay.
just throw on any game I want whenever.
Okay, I got you. So you got the Sunday ticket like for the MLB. Okay.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
that kind of makes it. Yeah. So I tend to just bounce around. It's not even. It's like based off of how the games are playing out. I'll sit there and be like, this looks like it might be interesting. So
I'm the same way, man. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, okay, well, if it's like 8th inning, it's 1-1, it's like a couple men on. I'm like, okay, I'll watch this game. And
yeah,
it's funny because there's times where it's like because I'm looking at it right now, and I think the Giants and Yankees, I think that would be a good series to open up the weekend and stuff. And then we got the Cubs and Brewers division rivalry, Blue Jays and Cardinals. I feel like that could be a very interesting matchup.
yeah, they both made improvements, so they're both teams looking to kind of take that next step here. So
We got the Phillies and we got the Phillies and Rangers. We got the World Series matchup. That's the World Series rewind matchup. Well, what year was that? Wasn't it like 2 or 3 years in a row they faced each other?
yeah,
I just said it. The Phillies play the Rangers. Cincinnati plays the Pirates. I wish I don't know. I couldn't find a graphic with the full matchups this week. I'm gonna try to do that next Thursday. I'll try to have the matchups for next weekend, guys. But I was not able to find one. I probably should have. But I feel like there's a lot of good matchups, and you said that you bounce around and everything like that. When they're when the Sox aren't on, do you still watch them like that? Will you just bounce around, or do the Sox have to be playing like for you to do that?
um, I mean, if the Sox are on, I'm not bouncing out of the Sox game at all.
Okay. So you don't. Okay. See, that's how I am. Once the game's on, I don't turn the that TV off at all.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
One that I think I missed maybe like 4 or 5 games total last season on TV or being there. Like there's commitment here.
Bro, I feel they play the Orioles. The Red Sox and Orioles is another matchup because the Orioles, the clean slate is the biggest thing, bro. I feel like the Orioles have a very big shot. They could be a surprising team, and we talked about it on the first episode me and you did when we did the preview show. They were a team that I said possibly could win the division if they, I mean, they did great last year. And honestly, I would love to see the Orioles just run away with it because I'm tired of seeing the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, they had kind of a disappointing offseason where they didn't add anything.
Yeah,
crazy.
that's going to be their big downfall is they really should have added something.
Yeah, they're counting a lot on their younger guys to really come into their own. So,
do you think, while we're on the question, do you think that they could be like the White Sox and do what the Sox did and just be doomsday?
I see it's hard to tell with the new scheduling.
Yeah, see, and that's a good point too, because I feel a lot of people, and I honestly did forget at first and before I looked at the schedule about how we're not playing the division as much. We're playing every National League team. We're playing every team in the MLB, which I like because I think it's cool that we're going to be able to see the Sox play the Diamondbacks, the Padres, the stuff like that. Like we don't see them play every year. So, and it's going to be cool once they come here, then we could go and see them.
Yeah. So I mean, with that, I think teams that were in a strong division, you might benefit more where you do pull out a few more wins because you're not just playing, I mean, the Yankees and the Red Sox and all them as many times. So it kind of just depends, I think, on the division. For the Sox, what's surprising is even though they're in a bad division, they don't really beat up on everyone in the division.
It's why? But why, bro? Like
with them not being able to beat up, I'm hoping that playing the division less should lead to more wins. Because if you think about it last year, the mediocre team would sit there and play up to their opponent's level if it was a high-end team.
Wow.
But then these bad teams, it would just be like, what are you doing? Like Kansas City, I felt like had our number yet last year. The Twins, I mean, I don't know if we split with them, but
it was every team, and it was like everything that they did was just god awful. Like it was just like, and then it was like when we played the Yankees, we won the doubleheader. How do you win a doubleheader against the Yankees in New York, but you can't beat the Royals? Or like it's just like, come on. And I feel like that's always been a White Sox thing for some reason.
Chicago in general.
Yeah, true. The Bulls are doing it, bro. They have a couple good games. They do it. They gain a couple games, and they get shit on. It's awful. And speaking of shitty things, let's talk about sticky things. You had a story, and you were telling me about the sticky stuff. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you said you saw an article or something like that about like how like guys and the ums are being more like on it.
The MLB essentially cleared the umpires to have more power in this situation and to be more aggressive with checking players. And now it's not going to necessarily be at the end of every half inning as the pitcher's walking off. The umpires are not allowed to sit and at any moment just sit there and ask to check the pitcher. So
like during like any at bat or any like anything.
I believe they're allowed to pause the game. And yeah, I think they're giving the umpires more freedom with that, which to me could lead to more players getting caught because if I suspect it, I'm gonna just wait till you're off guard and be like, let me see your hands.
Yeah, and you never know when they're gonna ask. That's the biggest thing. It's gonna be one of those things where it's like,
because if I'm walking off of the mound now, it's like the rules were last year. You just know, wipe your hands on your pants and make sure everything is not sticky that they're gonna touch. I mean,
that is like, and that's it should be. I think, and we'll talk about it because I want to do like bold predictions. I want to be like most likely what's gonna happen. And one of my bold predictions, I feel like obviously there's 2 days of March of baseball, but I feel like March, April, and like the beginning of May is going to be a very hard struggle. And I feel like it's going to take them a little bit more time to get used to it. We're going to be seeing sloppy play. We're going to be seeing guys miss the pitch count. We're going to be seeing guys like stuff like that. We may see somebody get caught with the sticky stuff because they get caught off guard. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to take a minute and adjust to this new everything, schedule, because I mean, I feel like too, like they might travel some places that they haven't traveled like this early in the season too. So, and that's the biggest thing I always try to tell people. I don't know if you feel the same way. I try not to worry too much in March and April and everything. It's like, it's good to start off good, but I don't want to like freak out. And obviously we see what happens if you don't have a good March and April, but if you could just stay above and stay in it and everything, I think we'll be okay. Or do you have the other, do you feel the other way?
Last year taught me to not necessarily feel that way. As everyone knows, I was one of the most positive people in regards to the team the entire season, and you just kept waiting for the moment where it's like, no, they're going to do it now. It's fine. And I'd like try and justify like how there's absolutely no way it won't turn around. And I was burned by that. I mean, there's certain things I think that need to be looked at in regards to a slow start. Is it that there's just a few mental errors being made? Or, I mean, last year, if we're being completely honest, when you look back, it seemed like there was no unity with that team pretty much from April on.
Yeah. I feel like even like, because wasn't it like, if I can't, because I forgot who we opened with, but I feel like we lost the game because some bullshit happened where it was like they gave up a bunch of runs or they gave up something that it was just like, it was like the first series. Oh, I think it was Baez? Was it Baez's first year last year on the Tigers?
Yeah, that was AJ Pollock went to go catch that ball in the outfield.
Yep.
And that led to that loss right away.
Yeah. And I know it's the only one they had versus the Tigers like that weekend, because I think they won 3 out of 4, I think, something like that. Because I know that they played a little better, because I was like, okay. But that's one of the things where it was like a play like that happened. And then it was like the Naylor game. And then it was the fucking drop by Engel against the Orioles. It was the stupid plays, the not throwing it to first, not hustling, not running the ball. It was just like, you're absolutely right. So you kind of turned me around where it's like, you're absolutely right. They burned us. Why am I going to give them another chance? You're absolutely, because you're absolutely
I won't give them another chance. I just feel I'm looking for certain things going into this season that I may not have been looking for last season, because I didn't realize how much it could impact the route that the team takes throughout the season. I mean, another thing too was we didn't have as much pitching depth last year. And so you had Giolito and Lynn down. So then you were having Velasquez and Keuchel make starts that they weren't getting out of like the 3rd or 4th inning. So that bullpen was burned by May.
Oh yeah. And that was the big thing too with Lynn. I feel like Rick Hahn mentioned it too in the podcast I keep mentioning. The last 2 years, 2 years ago it was Eloy, and then last year it was Lynn. And it's like, it's one of those things that like if we could just get there and just, stuff like that, we just need to feel a complete team. And I feel like if, and the way Pedro was talking, man, the guy was throwing BP. We were talking about it in the group chat we were in. Like, I feel like Tony was throwing ground balls like the Bad News Bears guy. I forget what his name is on the Bad News Bears movie with I forget. But yeah, I feel like that's what Tony was doing. It's just like, I feel like there's more, like you said, like unity, and there wasn't any of that last year. And that's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that, because, yeah. So the other thing that I did want to talk about is, because I want to get your predictions. The last thing we're going to do, I want to talk about what you think will happen like the first 4 games. Like, I want to get your predictions and what you think will be the records by Monday. So the next thing before we do that, though, I want to feel, what do you feel like is most likely going to happen this year? What is one thing that you just feel like it's going to happen, no matter if it's Judge hitting 50 again, if it's somebody winning an award? What's one thing you're guaranteed? There we go. It's your one guarantee of the year.
Honestly, I honestly think the White Sox will win the division. I know it's kind of bold, but You can't be that. They were so bad last year, and they were still an 500 team.
500. I mean, Ozzy and Chuck said it, bro. They said it on the podcast. They started laughing. They're like, this team was 81 and 81. And I was like,
yeah,
they were both dying. I was like, I mean,
but because of the memories of some of the games, how bad they played, you felt like the team had won 69 games, or like, I mean, it was just like one of those where you're just like, what the hell? I mean, the losses were so bad.
So bad.
So, I mean, if you can even just cut all of the bad stuff that happened last year in half.
Think about how many games those were. I mean, I just named off 5. You know?
Yeah. I just honestly think don't think Cleveland already Tristan McKenzie has been.
Yeah, so that was the one thing I forgot to mention it because I didn't want to talk about it when we were talking about all the other games. McKenzie. So what exactly happened with him? So he got hurt with his arm?
in his pitching arm.
Pitching arm, okay.
So they shut him down for 2 weeks, and he's supposed to be reevaluated then. But in a lot of instances, I mean, it could go either way. He could sit and be completely fine, and it just heals. But one of those ones where it's like he's going to be reevaluated, and it could be up to 8 weeks. That's definitely not something I would feel super confident that he's going to come back and be healthy in 8 weeks necessarily. So
and that's a big thing because I forget this is like a thing that could happen with like Lynn last year, where it's like they're missing one of their pitchers and then it takes like a downward of all of them. And you mentioned with the sticky stuff, you said maybe Shane Beaver using the sticky stuff, so maybe Mr. Shane gets a little caught during the first month of the season.
I mean, I just think Cleveland's strong suit is always pitching, but I'd be interested to test it. If McKenzie's out, I don't know that there's as much depth as people want to give them credit. Like, they do develop pitching well, but I just don't see.
Do you know their top 5 off the top of your head or no?
I was trying to I know it's Bieber, McKenzie.
Because I have the okay, so it's Beaver, McKenzie, Caltrin, Salave,
Savali, yeah.
Savali. I can't even speak. And then they got Plezak. I mean, in reality, besides Beaver, and if McKenzie's out, then their 6th pitcher is Cody Morris. So I mean, it's one of those things. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, they probably should have went out and got another pitcher. Like, they probably should have been that team to go out and get like an ace type of a guy because Beaver hasn't always been healthy either. And we saw what happens, bro. It's one of those things. If your pitching rotation takes and then you're bringing in bullpen guys and everything, like, it's one of those things. It could happen, or everything that happened last year could happen. But it's one of those things that it just like, I feel like everything for the Guardians last year just clicked. Everything that they did. Chuck said it. He said they took on the personality of Terry Francona. And that's the personality of Terry Francona. So it's going to be very interesting. And as you said, the White Sox they're not in a good division at all. So it's like one of those things where it kind of helps us, but it kind of hurts us because we can never take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So it should be very interesting. And you said, so if you say the White Sox are going to win the division, how many games do you think they win it by?
Games do they win it by?
Yeah, like do you think they run away with it? Do you think it comes down to like a series?
5 games.
5. You said 5+ games or 5 games?
I said at least 5.
At least 5. Okay. I mean, listen, I'm all for it, bro. Listen, I'm a white. Listen, I tell you, my mom yells at me as much as I'm down here yelling, and everybody yells at me. It just, man, I want to see it so bad, and it's just one of those things that I just don't want to get my hopes up because it's just like, But my bold prediction is, and I mentioned the team earlier, I think the Orioles win the division. I'm going to say the Orioles come out and they surprise everybody and they win that division. And we'll see what happens with the other wild card spot with the Yankees and Red Sox. Because I don't know, man. The way Sale's hurt again, this guy's like, everybody is just like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like health has a big thing to do. And
in Tampa and New York, I don't even see Boston as a contender this year, to be completely honest with you.
No? Okay. See, and like that's the biggest thing. Like it makes me, that's the one thing I dislike about like as much as I love wrestling. It's like when the baseball season's kind of ramping up is when WrestleMania season's on. So I'm trying to watch spring training, I'm trying to watch all the build and everything, and I'm overflowing myself. So I haven't been able to see that. Did they lose a lot more players? Because I saw they got They got Turner, but didn't Turner get hit in the head and is he out still?
I have no idea what's going on with him. They just lost, what was it, Xander Bogaerts signed with.
That's right.
Oh,
Where did he go again?
huh?
Where did he go? The Mets?
San Diego, I think.
That's right. That's right. He went with Manny. That's right.
So, I mean, they just didn't do anything that was like, wow, you're better now. I just don't see it. Whereas, like, the Yankees obviously stacked up, even though Rodon will miss the first however many starts because they shut him down to start the season. I mean, they went out and added him and traded for Montas, but Montas is, I think, out for the year, they said. So,
Bro, thank God we did not trade for him. Whoo! I saw
yeah,
that.
with the rumored asking price of Andrew Vaughn, that would have been rough.
That I would have cried. But as I give you my bold prediction, because I realized we were talking about things that were most likely going to happen. So I'm going to tell you now my most likely thing going to happen, and then you're going to tell me your bold prediction because I messed that up. I was like my dumb ass. But my bold prediction is I do think the Orioles are going to win it. And I feel like what most likely will happen is I feel like, because I just want to make sure I get this right. So hold on 2 seconds. Because I want to make sure I always get, I don't know why and what it is with me, but my head, and for some reason with these damn divisions, I always get confused and I always say a division, but then it's the basketball division because I'm like, I'm like, no, or not basketball, football. So my dumb ass is like, I say the NFC East or the NFC West, and then I think about like the West and East, and I get confused. So I want to make sure that they're in the right division before. Oh, there we go. I'm going to say my bold prediction. We've talked about the Astros being hurt. Angels are the Angels and everything. I'm going to say that, well, not my bold prediction, my guarantee, I should say, because I keep messing up. Tino's all types of messed up, guys. I'm sorry. Seattle Mariners win in the division. They're winning the West, not the Astros. I'll say Seattle comes out, and I'm going to say we see, and if the White Sox make it, I say we see 3 new teams in the AL make the playoffs. I'm sure the Astros will make it into the wild card, but if those injuries and if they go and if Altuve can't get better and stuff, it's going to be a lingering effect, even if they got Abreu, even if they got all these great guys. So you said Tucker's out too, right?
Tucker was unsure. It was unclear, but there was rumors that he was dinged up in the World Baseball Classic because I don't think he played a decent towards the end. I don't think he was playing. So,
guys, I guess we find out tomorrow, man, for all the opening day, or I guess tomorrow, or it should be Wednesday. I mean, no, tomorrow is Wednesday. So yeah, we should find out because games start 1:00 on we're the opening game, aren't we?
Yeah, on Thursday.
Okay. That's right. We are the opening game. Okay, never mind. So, guys, it starts Thursday. So we should figure that out. But now, and the last thing that we're going to talk about, and Tom, for the main event here, guys, we're going to talk about the 4 White Sox games, Astros and White Sox. What is the record going to be when we're sitting here, when we're getting ready to do the episode number 3 for Thursday? What is the White Sox and what is the Astros record going to be after this first weekend series? And if there is any teams that you see possibly sweeping, getting swept, anything like that. So I want to make sure I have all the matchups because I want to tell everybody first. Opening night, we got Dylan Cease taking on Frambo? How do you say it? Framber Valdez. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. Guys, you guys should know this. And then they have not announced the second game. So I guess that is the only matchup that we could talk about. But I mean, we're assuming that it's going to be Cease, Lynn, Giolito, Kopech, and Clevinger.
No, Clevinger is going to pitch in Houston.
That's right. Okay, so it's going to be Clevinger, Kopech. So we got Cease and Valdez, bro, and Valdez last year, or what did he go last year? He went flipping. Man, I should have wrote all this down. Anyway, whatever. He went 17-6. He had a 2.82 ERA, and if I remember right, doesn't he have a very good record against us? Isn't he like 2-1?
He generally pitches pretty well against the Sox. I thought it's going to be interesting. You mentioned what do I think the record is going to be at the end of this series. I am going to be bold here and say the Sox are going to win 3 of the 4 games.
Ooh, that's bold.
I honestly,
You think that they just come out and they're just do you think that they've just come out and they're just so pissed? Because we talked about it a little bit in the group chat about how maybe they should take the last game of the preseason should be Sunday and then they take the 3 days off because they're all ready. Do you think it's just they're ready as soon as that ball throws? Bold prediction, yes or no? Do you think Anderson first pitch hits a home run? I
Uh,
was thinking about that as I was playing the show. I'm like, what if Anderson just comes up and just bombs one off of Valdez?
I honestly, I'd probably go with no, but he most likely gets a hit. I mean, the guy can hit. It's just his power necessarily. He could though. He does like big games. That's a national broadcast game, isn't
That's
it?
what I'm saying, bro. I
Yeah.
think it'd be so great. Everybody's sitting there getting ready, and he just comes out and just hits a bang. But yeah, I mean, most likely no. But I mean, hits more likely. But shit, starting the season off like that, as I'm sitting, bro, that would just be so great.
I
1-0
just
right off the bat.
I just think if you're Pedro Grafal, you're sitting there and reviewing the last few seasons against the Astros, and you're just going to say, okay, it came across like this team wasn't able to compete with the Astros, but I would highlight the games that the Sox did sit and win and showed some dominance. And I would sit there and be like, this is one way to make a statement to your fans is go out there and pound on Houston.
Especially then them coming back home to face the Giants on Monday with us all going because I know me and you will be there. I don't know anybody else will be there, but I mean, that's the one. You're absolutely right because then it's just going to be more exciting on Thursday or not Thursday, next Monday when
Yeah.
we're all at the game. It's gonna, you know what I mean? But I can't even believe. Just think, 6 days from now, we'll be be behind me. Let's go. So excited. I'm sorry. I just get people may think like I love wrestling, and I do love wrestling, bro. But the fandom I have for baseball is on a different level. Like man. So I'm so excited. So you said 3 out of 4. So you think White Sox going in, and we playing the Giants 3-1. Who do
Yeah.
you think the one losses?
Um, it could be the Lynn game.
Bro,
Just
why does he pitch so bad versus them? What is it?
it's because he mostly throws fastballs, which Houston batters feast on.
Feast, bro. I would that was the one thing when I saw Cease, I was like, okay. I kind of want Giolito to start the second game just because, but I mean, Lynn's got to pitch at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, they could make him the 5th starter for day one. I mean, I don't mind seeing Lynn night one at the guaranteed rate or Comiskey, but I mean, yeah, I mean, you could be right with that because I don't know what it is, but what is it? What is it? The last 3 times that they faced him, especially in Houston for some reason. It's like that Houston stadium does something to his ass.
They just jump all over him.
First, I don't know. So my prediction, because I feel like that's the best case scenario, but I feel like the more realistic option and like my hope is I don't want to be too low on the hope, but I feel like we're gonna split. I feel like it's gonna be 2-2. I don't know why, but it's just always that thing with the White Sox where they just don't want to show up right away. And I hope that they do, bro. I hope they come out and smack, and I hope I'm wrong. But I don't know what it is. They can't win on opening day. What is it? Don't know why, but these goddamn guys don't know how to play. It irritates the hell out of me. So
I just think going into the series, they have to have a better outlook than we'll be okay if we win 2 games. It's like minimally you should win 2 games.
oh yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like they should, and that's where like you're absolutely right. We could go out there because if Lynn pitches the second game, that's where it could be. We take the opener, they take the other one, and then we win the next 2. And that's hopefully best case scenario is we just take a giant sweep when we bring out the brooms and we going in 4-0 and celebrating like it's 1985. But I mean, yeah, man, I feel like it's going to be very, very close. And I feel like this is going to be a very good opening series. And even if we don't take 3 or 4, if we don't sweep or whatever, I feel like the Sox are going to show so much more than they did last year that after this series, the Astros are going to be like, damn, this isn't the same team. And Abreu could try to do and say whatever the hell he wants if he wants to try to give advice or whatever, or try to give our secrets away. But I feel like they're a completely different team than they were just 6 months ago. Like the coach, they even mentioned we have a guy with a managing experience, a head managing experience as a bench coach for the first time. Like that's big
Oh,
too because You
Yeah.
know, it's like having all these new guys and having the way that they've been talking. I just feel like we're gonna go in there and Pedro saw what we were across from being on the Royals, and he will not allow them to go back out there and ever be the way that they were because he saw how bad it was. So it's gonna be one of those things, man. It's gonna be very, very interesting.
Speaking of Montoya, he's always kind of he's been known as a hard ass on players. So I think this year too, what you're going to see is if someone hits a lazy fly ball or ground ball and they dog it to first base, I honestly think this coaching staff is going to make statements very early on that like this will not be tolerated.
Like taking guys out of the games, like if somebody's not hustling,
Yeah,
man,
there's
that would be
it's
huge.
unacceptable. It happened way too much last year where you just had guys jogging out ground balls that they hit and there were multiple instances where had they just hustled, the ball was bobbled or something. So that split second they would have added by just running down the baseline completely becomes null because they didn't even hustle. So they're still out anyways because the guy has all the time in the world to get the ball and tag the base. It's just things like that are going to be, I think, emphasized by this coaching staff because if you're Pedro Grifol, you watched a team completely fall apart last year, multiple times in all sorts of games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was, and it wasn't even just like it just became like a thing. It was just like, okay, like the Sox have it, but they're gonna find a way to lose it. And it was like it got to the point where it was just like I was watching the games and I just had it on because I was live all the time and everything. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, this is just like awful. And I'm sitting here trying not to show my reaction, but it's just like, what am I watching here? These guys look like they're out there like the goddamn minor league, major league, the guys in the Angels in the outfield playing baseball or something in the movies. Like, what are we doing here? Running into each other and the balls dropping and like I just man. I literally when Engel dropped the ball in Baltimore, bro, I literally felt like I was watching like the major leagues when they first started and before they got Vaughn and everything. I was like, oh my god.
That
So
was my issue with the team last year too. Is if you watch certain games where they did come out really like strong in the first inning or two, they'd put up some runs, but then they'd give up runs, and then the offense would just go
yeah,
completely cold the rest of the game.
Cole, they it's like they would get it all out and then they couldn't score. And it was like the few games that they showed life. Like I remember the one game in Detroit when Yohan was like 5 for 5. He had like 6 RBIs. They beat the shit out of the Tigers. I remember there was one game that they scored like 10 plus runs. It's doable, but it was just like they didn't have that like thing in it to like get going. And it's like the picture I always remember, and it bothers me, is Abreu in the last game of the season, as I mentioned earlier, him saying that, like he wasn't there, he didn't go out there, he didn't play in the game, and then he didn't even come out. I didn't know he didn't even come out wave at the fans, and the fact that he didn't even do that, and it's like, dude, like, come on, like we've given you everything that we've given you since 2014. You've given us a bunch of moments, and you don't even say goodbye in a way. And then it's like he went on to the Astros and said that they weren't a family, and he's absolutely right. They weren't a family last year. But I still feel like, he's saying these things and everything, and it's like he's got like this grudge against the White Sox now. And it's just like, I don't understand, dude. Like, why? Because you didn't win the World Series? It's like, I feel like they gave him every opportunity. We weren't going to give him $60 million. I feel like the only team that was the Astros. Because where would he be playing? Like, if the Astros didn't give him that much money, where do you think he'd be playing right now?
I think the issue with him wasn't necessarily what other team could he be playing, like what team was going to pay him. I think the White Sox probably sat him down and were just trying to be honest and saying we may go a different direction. So extension is probably not likely here because we have Andrew Vaughn. And I think once the Astros had made their offer, I would assume he probably reached out as a courtesy to the team and was like, hey, can you match this? And the Sox weren't willing to go 3 years just with his age and everything. It just didn't make sense for them. And then if you kept Abreu, Andrew Vaughn would be gone. You'd be probably paying Abreu $20 million this year. So then Andrew Benintendi probably doesn't happen. So
I mean, and that's the big thing that I've been saying, where it's like it's a ripple effect. But in the end, it could work out for both because Abreu now has a chance to win. He got paid. The Sox have their first baseman. They got Benintendi. They didn't make a lot of great moves, but I feel like they made the moves that they needed. And if the White Sox again can just play up to their potential, we could win 10 plus games and we're 90, 91 and 71 and we're in the playoffs. So we're 2 days away from the MLB season. 48 hours, I should say. 48 hours, 30 minutes, and it's 5:30. So what would that be? We got 24, we got 20, something like that. 40, we got 2 days, half hour, and like 7 minutes, guys, till the baseball season starts. Cannot wait for it, man. Cannot wait till next week. Hopefully, you got the whole crew back here next week. We got Justin, we got Bardo. We got them all back, and we'll be talking because who do we face after the Astros? Because we face
at home.
Oh, that's right, the Giants, my dumb ass. We're going to the opener on Monday. Duh. Anyway, we will be back here. Let's see. They do play the Astros, or not the Astros. They do play the Giants in a 4-game series. So it looks like we'll be going live after the Giants and White Sox finish off their series, and the Sox will be heading to Pittsburgh to play the Pirates. So we'll be talking about the Astros series, talking about opening weekend, and we'll be getting ready. And we'll be talking about the first week of baseball, Giants and White Sox, and etc. And we'll get ready, and we'll get you guys ready for the MLB next week. And we're thinking Thursday. What'd you guys say? You guys want to do like 5? Is it 5:30?
5:30-ish, I thought.
5:30. All right, 5:30, guys. Every Thursday, come and hang out with the SouthSide boys as we preview the weekend's matchup. We talk about the week's matchup. We talk about the weekend before that, and we talk everything baseball, guys. I appreciate all of you guys coming here, hanging out so much. Let's get to the chat before we do go. There's not too many chats, so we'll go through it real quick. Chris says he's ready. He's got Phillies, Giants, Cincinnati's. Those are his 3 teams. Okay, true. He asked me who they played. I answered those. He says, I'm crazy thinking the Orioles will win the division. Why? Why am I crazy? Do you think I'm crazy?
Not crazy. Just that one could be difficult. They didn't add enough for me to buy into them just winning the division.
I just like to say things sometimes, so at least if it happens, it's out there. So that I got this on recording, so we can come back to it in October.
Then you'd be an expert.
I mean, people think I work for the WWE because I say things that happens, and it's like, guys, I've just been watching it for so long that I just know it. Like, I know there's a lot. Chris, other bold prediction. He says the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, I don't think so, Chris.
I don't know.
Highest paid player is Ken Griffey Jr. this year.
Wait, what?
The 4th highest paid Reds player this year is Ken Griffey Jr. They're still paying his contract. He's getting $3.4 million, and that's the 4th highest on the team.
I didn't know that. It's about as bad as the Chris Davis deal. And the Orioles are still paying Chris Davis.
They're paying him like $10 million this year, Chris Davis.
Wouldn't that be great to be able just to sit on the team and not do anything, or not even on the team? He sits at home and does nothing. I mean, man, that would just be great. So, Deech, you got anything else you want to tell the people before we get out of here for episode number 2?
No, I'm just very excited for this White Sox season.
Man, I'm so excited. I hope maybe I'll run into you if I get down there early enough. Maybe I'll just come around you and pour some beer on you or something and get you all ready for the season. Don't get too drunk, man.
No, I mean, at a lot of games, I have my few beers in the lot, a beer or 2 in the game. Got to drive home, so you can't be.
Oh, okay. Well, wait, that's good. That's good. You're being responsible.
Yeah,
got to make sure. My uncle's driving, so we're gonna be in the stadium club. So I might just drink on him and then just make him drive.
Yeah.
And I'm just staying at his house, so I don't got to leave. Maybe I'll be drunk for the live stream for Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania, guys. Your boy Tino coming drunk. Bro, deadass, I might be doing the live stream in my car just depending on what time the game is. I kind of hope it goes by fast. It's like a 2-hour game, but we'll have to see, man. So, Deech, man, I appreciate you taking a little time out, coming and hanging out here. Southside boys, getting you ready for the MLB season. As everybody knows, we got to get Deech on a wrestling show sometime, even though he doesn't watch wrestling and everything, man. You know, you gotta come hang out in the chat with me sometimes when you're not busy. I know you're a busy dude. So
yeah, maybe I'll show up drunk to that.
there you go. That would be entertaining now. If you come and hang out in the live stream while you're drunk, that's what I need, because sometimes, bro, I'm sitting there during these live streams, especially like Wednesdays, Thursdays, and stuff like that, and there's nobody in here. I'm just like, dude, what's up, guys? And there's like 4 people. So definitely, man. But man, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming and hanging out. We'll be back here next week, everybody. Remember to go follow your boy Tino. Go follow your boys. Go follow the SouthSide Boys on Twitter. Right? What it's the SouthSide Boys 23.
Yeah.
23. Go follow us. We're on the road to 500. We're almost at 300. We're almost there. I think we're pretty close. You said we've been gaining really high. What was the last time you were at? Last time we saw it?
It was 200 something.
Okay, so we're almost there, guys. Keep going. We're halfway there. Go support that. Go follow us for all your baseball needs. Once the season gets going, we'll be posting. Obviously, I'll be posting the game recaps and scores, etc., and everything. Keep it out. Keep a lookout for all the links. But also, guys, go check out Tino's Time on SoundCloud and Spotify. Tino's Time 1996 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Go hit that like button if you have not. Go subscribe, as we're on the road to 1,000. I saw that we're at 901, 900. So I think we got to 900. Thank you, guys. 100 more away to 1K. Joining it. So continue to join the nation. That is Tino's Nation, guys. Subscribe. Turn that notification button on. We'll be back here in 1 short hour for NXT, as it's the go-home show for NXT Stand and Deliver. It's going to be a good one. So make sure you guys come and hang out. Who's going to be the last person to qualify for the men's and the women's matches at Stand and Deliver? We're only day 2 of WrestleMania week. We got another doubleheader tomorrow and so much more coming up, guys. Have a great hour, and I'll see you guys all back here for NXT in 1 short hour.